Good evening and welcome to It's Your Voice. I'm Dr. Nuriddin. As always, we're indebted to the Divine Supreme Being for an opportunity to address you. We're praying you're going to stay with us for the next few minutes. We want to talk to you really about your health, the possibilities of building better health, and some of the things that I think all of us need to be aware of and conscious of, particularly when it comes to our bodies and the properties that it really has already in it to help keep it healthy. And it was Hippocrates that said to us, who is was seen basically as the father of modern medicine in this part of the world. He came out, he made a statement, and I quote, "Natural forces within us are the true healers of disease." This was Hippocrates. Basically, we're pretty much hardwired for health. The body is hardwired for health. We've got some natural defense systems in the body. When activated, they pretty much restore health if we're losing it, and they help to maintain health. I didn't get a chance to go over these with you all before, but let me just give you the titles of some of these natural defenses in the body, even though we won't get a chance to go into all of that this evening. But I do want to acquaint you with these natural defenses. One is angiogenesis, and this really deals with the vascular system in the body, which is the first system that's really developing in the child or the baby after conception, or once the sperm penetrates the ovum, and then that fertilized egg comes down and attaches itself to the wall of the uterus of the female and then starts to grow there. The first thing that's going to start developing is the vascular system. So basically, something's alive going on in the mother in 5 days. 5 days after conception, this vascular system is being built. We won't see organs and things until later on starting to develop, but the vascular system is starting to develop. This is angiogenesis. Regeneration is another system in the body. This deals with stem cells in the body. And the body will naturally produce stem cells. And stem cells can pretty much work anywhere in the body. If they're in the area of the heart, then they produce heart tissue. If they're in the area of the kidneys, they produce kidney tissue. If they're in the area of the spleen, they produce spleen tissue. So that's all a part of regeneration, and stem cells, extremely important. The next area is the microbiome. The microbiome, now we're looking at what's going on in the gastrointestinal tract of the person, the bacteria levels, fungal forms, yeast, mold, those type of things in the gastrointestinal tract. Friendly flora, the importance of friendly flora in the gastrointestinal tracts. But you have bad flora there and friendly flora there, bad bacteria there and good bacteria there. So this system here, the microbiome, when it's balanced, it's a protective mechanism in the body of humans. And this is why it's so important for you to take probiotics, prebiotics, primarily probiotics, just to make sure that you've got a healthy microbiome. Then you look at DNA protection. Protecting the DNA is critical. I mean, the blueprint of everything, every cell in the body basically has a blueprint to it. And what keeps it in that blueprint is the DNA. And when mutation starts to take place with the tissue, when the DNA starts to lose that blueprint, when the chromosomes are starting to be compromised in the body and mutation starts setting, cancer starts setting in, we know that, we've heard this term before, So the DNA is a protective mechanism in the system also. And then we have the immunity, the sophisticated ways that are more complicated than just previously thought in terms of how the immune system really works in the body, what immune tissue is, from your tonsils to your spleen to your appendix, all that's immune system. So these are 5 areas of protection that are already there. Health is not simply the absence of disease. It's something that we have to understand. Health is an active state. It's an active state. Your body has within it 5 health defense mechanisms: angiogenesis, which I just went through with you, regeneration, the microbiome, DNA protection, and immunity. These systems are responsible for maintaining our health and resisting the regular hazards we all face every day as part of ordinary life. And they heal us when incursions from disease inflict damage in our body. By knowing about how these systems defend your body like a fortress, you can tap into their healing powers to live a longer, healthier life. And that's a fact. And here's the other thing. Food should be your medicine. Learning how to eat is really critical, because all of these systems, these mechanisms in the body, are influenced by food. Not drugs and pharmaceuticals. They're influenced by food. There are certain foods, natural foods in nature, that we're coming in contact with, or we're avoiding, passing by them in many cases when we're in the grocery store, not realizing that this food right here will help me produce more stem cells. This food right here will help me with my microbiome, with my gastrointestinal tract. This food right here will help me with my vascular system. This food right here will help me with my DNA. But we're just not conscious. We're not aware of food groups. And basically the way that most of us eat here in America is problematic for our bodies. So learning about these systems and foods that help to stimulate the production and the balance of these systems is critical to you having good health. It's a necessity today. Why? We're living in a very, very rich, technologically advanced society. And most of the modern conveniences that have been given to us for our comfort are carrying dangers with them. I mean, we need them. You can't make it today because of the way that the social order is structured without an automobile. But we know that the fumes that's coming from the automobile are problematic. So now we're trying to adjust ourselves as a global public when we start talking about the ingestion of these fumes that's coming from certain fuels that are used for mechanism or machinery to propel it. We're also becoming more conscious now of the electromagnetic systems, how electricity is actually affecting man today. He needs the lights though. But some of the lights that are produced don't give all of the benefits or don't quite offset the value of what the lighting does for us. Or what I mean is, in certain cases, it compromises our health. Where are you going to go without airplanes today? I mean, some of you don't like to fly, but to get from here to California, from the East Coast to the West Coast, in 3 to 4.5 hours or 5 hours, or from this continent to Europe or this continent to Africa in 5 hours or 7 hours, I mean, we have really collapsed the time. We've collapsed what it requires for us in terms of time to get to long distances today. But every time you crank up one of these airplanes, then the fuel The fuel is going somewhere, and ultimately we breathe it. So now modern convenience has certainly helped us in terms of comfort, but we have to be careful. Even some of the clothes that we wear, how they're manufactured, how they're produced. We have to look at the foods in terms of how they're packaged. You know, at one time, we weren't, every time we got ready to eat, we wasn't opening up cans and plastic packages and those kind of things. We were cutting up stuff. And people still do that in various parts of the world. But that's not where we are, for the most part, living in America today. So having this type of knowledge and this kind of awareness on how to protect yourself becomes critical in order for you to build better health. And that's the whole idea. The whole idea is to build better health. So let's look at angiogenesis here. Start off today by looking at angiogenesis, and then we can go through some of these other areas as we move on into the future, because you do need to know about them, and I do want to spend some time with you and sharing what these things all are. But here, let's come to some realizations up front here at the outset of this presentation as we're going into 2024. And this is the first presentation that I'm doing here of 2024. And I really want to take you through these 5 areas and foods that support these 5 areas so that your food starts to become your medicine. And I know there are so many of you today that are disenchanted with medications. You'd like to be free of medications. And I'm not telling you in any kind of way to stop the medication that your doctor has put you on. I think that's something that has to take place between you and your doctor. But I do believe that if you start putting certain nutrients into your body that are designed to help heal your body, or that will act as a raw material to help the body heal itself, because really, as I'm showing you, the body really has to heal itself. It already has an instinctive wisdom there already, which is designed to keep it healthy if you can keep it in balance. And so having a conversation with your primary care doctor, once you start feeling better about the possibility of he or she working with you to possibly reduce the consumption of medications, that's in the minds of many people today, because they were told in the very, very beginning when they started taking medication, some were told you only have to use it for a while, and some was told you're going to be using it forever. And most people who are taking medications, in fact, what I know about medications were never meant for you to just be taken forever. Forever. The only reason why they say for most people you're going to be taking it forever because behavior doesn't change. You don't change your behavior. What brought on the problem in the beginning remains the problem as a result of you taking medication because you don't change the behavior. You know, you don't change the caloric intake in terms of how much of the calories you're taking. You never cease to eat or slow down and give the body a chance to rest in terms of fasting. Those kind of things we have a tendency to overlook or not practice at all. And as a result of that, we stay on medication year after year, decade after decade, score after score. Some of you have been on medication 20, 30, 40 years. And you would probably like to get off. You can't just get off. You can't just walk off. You have to work with your practitioner and a dietitian and somebody like me that has some type of understanding of foods and systems in the body in terms of how they work to help you get off. So it's not about just walking away from where you are at this particular juncture in your life, although you would like to be free, but it's a process in order for you to get free. So, and you have to work with your doctor in order to make that happen, whoever your primary care physician is. So we all have, let's start from this standpoint. We all have cancer growing in our body, all of us, every single one of us, even you. All of us have cancer cells growing in our body. But what protects us? What stops it from becoming a real serious problem for us? It's the immune system. It's these aspects of what I just shared with you, these 5 defense mechanisms, they make the difference when the body is in balance. And when the body loses its balance now, then this cancer that's in the body that is harmless, really, when everything is checked. Once everything gets out of balance, then it starts to proliferate. It starts to grow. It starts to mutate. It starts to divide. It starts to produce tumors in the system. But we all have it. We all have cancer cells in the body. Autopsies and autopsy studies. Let me give you some information. In autopsy studies on individuals who never received a diagnosis of cancer during their lifetime, almost 40% of women between the ages of 40 and 50 had microscopic tumors in their breast. About 50% of men between 50 and 60 had microscopic cancer in their prostate, and almost 100% of people over the age of 70 had microscopic cancers in their thyroid gland. Had never been diagnosed with cancer. But studies showed that people in these age groups, men and women, basically had cancer cells in the body. So we all have it there. It hasn't, in many cases, metastasized. It hasn't produced a tumor that is growing, that's causing complications for you as an individual. But it's there. It's there. So all of us have cancer cells in our bodies. They're just not causing a problem for us. And there's no need in you saying, well, mister, don't talk to me like that because I ain't buying that. Well, you don't have to. I'm just telling you what the reality is. I'm telling you what studies have shown. I'm telling you what the facts are. You can have your opinion about whatever you want. I'm just telling you what the facts are. I'm not trying to get you to buy into something that's going to cause you a problem. I'm trying to wake you up to realities that's actually going on with you and all of us that you can do something about if you're conscious and you're intelligent, if you're wise. If you're ignorant, you're going to have a problem. If you refuse to accept facts when presented with them, you're going to always have problems in your life. So I'm not trying to get you to buy something, accept something subconsciously that's going to ultimately produce something in your body. I'm telling you what's already there and how to protect yourself from it causing any kind of problems for you as you move on into the future. Tumors such as these develop when healthy cells make natural errors during cell division or when cell DNA is mutated by environmental exposures. And we're all exposed to things every day. You pull up to the gas tank, you're putting gas in your car, in your automobile. You're exposed to fumes. This is a fact. You're cleaning your homes. Many of you cleaning your homes. Many of you, the work that you do carries chemicals with it. And you're breathing these chemicals. You're ingesting these chemicals. These are factors. And what do? They affect the DNA. As they affect the DNA, then the possibility of mutations take place. So this is very, very real. Some of you just unconsciously, you've been doing things. We call it you've been blessed. Some would call it and say that you've been lucky. I'd rather say that you've been blessed. That you haven't had this proliferation or this mutation to take place in your bodies to the level where you've been diagnosed with cancer or some other autoimmune disorder, which is possible for all of us living in this part of the world under the conditions that we're faced with, which is very, very real. And again, it goes back from not just fuels going into machinery, it also goes into cleaning products. It also goes to packaging, how your food is packaged, how your food is manufactured. It also goes to steroids and hormones, industrial waste, preservatives, all of these things. You're not escaping these things. You're not escaping these things. So learning how to defend yourself is the key. And we all can, because it's available. One thing about this country is we're very, very wealthy. America is very, very wealthy. It's very, very rich. The supply chain, when working the way that it should, brings stuff to us from every part of the world into America. Good food, wholesome foods. And we have farming going on pretty much everywhere in just about every state where farming can take place in America. So we're really fortunate living in this part of the world because of the wealth that we have in this country, because of, and that wealth has made available to us things that we need in order to preserve ourselves. So this is very, 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 very enlightening and revealing to us. And you should be happy that you're living in this country with all the crazy stuff that's going on politically, irrespective to that. You should be happy that you're living in this part of the world, because you're really blessed. You've really been favored. And I know where some of you are at this particular point, and the notion probably hits all of us, that if things change the way that they are, you're talking about if you could get out of here, you'd leave. Some of you talking about leaving already, going somewhere else. Why? Because the stress level, another factor, is so high. Confusion, disharmony, lack of unity, a lack of people willing to work together, a lack of tolerance. And then the media has the ability to go into all of our homes every day, all day, not just our homes, our automobiles, wherever we may be, offices where we work, and we're being bombarded with things that produce tension in our systems and stress out our systems all day. So we get to the point where we say to ourselves, whether we say it out loud or whatever, this is just madness. This is just crazy. I've pretty much had it. If there was any way for me to get out of here, I would get out of here and go somewhere else. But despite that, and I do think that the future is bright for us. I think this is going to pass us. The circumstances will get better. I do think that. I do think at some particular point, and this isn't the first time we've had a crazy scenario like this going on with government. It's been there in the past. You and I didn't see it. Many of us didn't see it. Some of it was 100 years ago. Some of it was 150 years ago. Some of it was less than that, but many of us weren't exposed. We just were children, young, had no awareness and no consciousness really of what was really going on. So we wasn't really affected by it. But now we're up, we're adults. The television is on 24/7 now. And you remember television, when we were coming up, many of you, particularly in my age group, television was off at 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning. You had a gray screen, a white screen. There wasn't no TV 24 hours a day, but now you got 24 hours a day. And not only do you have that, you've got the internet. Look at all of this. Excuse me. So we're fortunate. We're blessed in one way to be living in this part of the world. But in another way, it's dangerous. It is dangerous to our health, primarily. The constitutional care. In fact, I talked to you about that last time I was here with you. I went into constitutional care to actually show you the various dimensions of you and how there are so many ways for your body to be inflicted with disorder, not from just consumption of eating, but thinking and stimuli that's coming from outside, decisions that we're making, all of these things. So these are relevant facts that we're exposed to all the time and everywhere, living in this great country. And my first suggestion to you is keep your faith up. If you're a person of faith, keep your faith up. Keep your belief in the Creator over heavens and earth, believing that life will get better for man as he moves on into the future, irrespective of what you see right now. This country didn't get to this particular stage of its development without having problems on the way. And while these seem like monumental problems that we're faced with right now, they're not. These are problems that man can solve. These are problems that man will solve. These are problems that only man can solve with the help of the Creator over heavens and earth. You got to have God's favor to do it. He needs God's guidance to do it. And I don't think that the majority of the people in this country have walked away from their belief and their trust in God. I don't. I believe the majority of the people that are in this country believe that there's a Creator of heavens and earth, and believe that ultimately, if we keep our faith in this power and do how we really are guided, not based on our own opinions, if we do that, then we believe that things are going to work out right for us in this part of the world. And what we do in this part of the world affects the whole world. So America is a very, very special place. You're living in a very, very special place. Again, I say to you, you've really been blessed, but you do need to know how to take care of yourself, to preserve your own health, and how to preserve the health of your children and the future generations coming. So let's look a little bit more here to what I've just showed to you. So tumors such as these develop when healthy cells make natural errors during cell division. Healthy cells make natural errors every day. Your DNA makes errors every day. If you've looked at DNA or seen what DNA, it looks like a ribbon. You know, it looks like a ribbon that's a ladder with rungs on it. And then it also has sidings to it. But every day, those rungs are consistent and made up of two molecules, A and C and G, make up those two molecules in those rungs every day. And these are proteins. When they get out, they make errors. It takes place every day. What sustains us and what protects us are these defense mechanisms. Because the DNA has a way to protect itself. The mechanism is already built in. You've already been favored. We cause the problems for ourselves. It's not the body that's causing the problem for you. It's you causing the problem for the body. Body's never done anything other than what you've told it to do. It only functions based on what you tell it to do. It is purely a servant of the creator of the heavens and earth. It never has gone contrary to what the creator wanted it to do. Naturally. The only time it gets out of balance is when you get out of balance in terms of how to go about maintaining it and taking care of it and helping it and protecting it. That's the only time. But every day, particularly living in this part of the world, and I would dare to think, science would probably tell us, it doesn't matter where you're living. You're going to have errors every day with the DNA in the body. But because you have these built-in mechanisms that are designed to course correct, if I can use that type of terminology, to cause your body to rebuild itself, restore itself, replenish itself, keep itself healthy. That innate wisdom, that innate knowledge is already there. You just have to be in harmony with it. And in most cases, well, where do we fall out of harmony? Well, it's based on what we do with the environmental factors. It's man down through time. You're living in a world that has been created by people who have come before you. And again, while all of these modern conveniences are here, air conditioning, oh, look, it has its value, but it also has a downside to it too. Yeah, it has a downside to it. Shuts down the perspiration, shuts down the active biochemical factors in the skin for the body to breathe like it should. And when it's working, I mean, it's fine. It keeps us cool and those kind of things. But in most cases, we don't know the toll that it's really taking on us. But who wants to be hot all the time? Nobody. Not too hot. And we're watching today. You know, you can't really, well, you could make it because you did make it before without it, but you wouldn't want to, particularly when you know, the temperature is up now, 90 degrees, 100 degrees on certain days. You want to be able to come in out of that heat, and you want to be able to cool down your homes. But at the same time, you have to understand too that there is a subtle danger to it also that you have to be conscious of, because the body should breathe, the body should sweat, the body should get rid of waste daily, and it does that as a result of the pores in the skin opening up, getting rid of waste every day. And the air conditioning like that shuts that process down. So it's just another modern convenience that we have for us to think about that is affecting us. Very real. It's a fact that this is actually taking place. So every day something is happening with your DNA. Every day. Your body has a remarkable defense system that keeps microscopic cancers small by starving of the blood supply and nutrients they would need to grow. The body does it naturally. There are certain foods. Let me just do this before I stop here, because it is time for me to stop. Can't give you everything in, 35 minutes. And even if I tried to do it in an hour, I still wouldn't be able to do it. So, but do you know, just drinking green tea every day will help produce stem cells? I said green tea. Just drinking green tea every day helps to produce stem cells. And they've also researched and found out that even black tea will help to produce stem cells. They've done all kinds of studies on these things. I'm talking about all over the world. China, Japan, Indonesia, Germany, the US, France, Canada. People all over the world have been studying foods and how it affects us in terms of our health. What are those foods that we should use? Your food should be your medicine. What are those foods? So I'm just giving you one right here. Just drinking green tea daily can help many of you. Some of you with cancer already. Green tea will help you. Could very well cause the tumor to shrink. There's a number of things behind it. But we're going to talk to you about foods, how they affect all of these particular defense systems. Here I did just touch a little bit on DNA because DNA gets out of balance every day. But I really want to continue on, and I will, with angiogenesis in terms of the vascular system because it's huge. Now you're really starting to talk about the heart, but basically every organ and every system in the body. But the heart, really, when it stops functioning, when your lungs stop working, then you know you got a problem. When you can't breathe anymore, or when breathing becomes difficult for you, you know that you've got a problem. And so the vascular system is extremely important. Look, it's been good talking to you all. I look forward to talking to you all again the next time. You all have a healthy and pleasant evening. I'm Dr. Nuriddin. Peace be unto you. Assalamu alaikum.